Now let's get into some more foundational stuff for this unit. Let's talk about types of colonies and what kind of governments these colonies had, generally speaking at their founding, although we're going to bounce around a little bit. So the first one that we're going to talk about for a second is a charter colony. And a charter colony is an English colony that was largely self-governing with little interference from England. It was usually established by a group of settlers who had been given a formal document that allowed them to settle by the king. So the king said, I'm giving you permission to be there. And for the most part, you can do what you want. This piece of paper, called a charter, is like a permission slip to do what you want. All you gotta do is just what you want. Connecticut and Rhode Island were the two that had the charters, without losing them, that is. Generally speaking, you would have a governor and you would have a legislator. Remember, a legislator is a group of people elected to make the laws. So you had to vote for them, and they would be elected by the colonists who lived there. Now, the governor could not overrule the legislature. The legislator had final say, but the governor had some authority when it came to day-to-day matters, but not the big major laws. Great Britain, England, led by the King of England, they got to choose, do we say yes or no to the governor? So there was still a little bit of power that they would have back in England, but almost all the authority in a charter colony laid with the legislator, which would be the actual people who lived there. The next one we're going to talk about for a second is a royal colony. And a royal colony is pretty simple. It's a colony who's under the direct control of the monarch. King says so, king gets what wants. Most of the colonies were like this. We have New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, Virginia. Although Virginia originally had a charter because, that would be, they lost that because they stopped making enough money, and the King of England was like, all right, apparently you're not good at taking care of your business. You can't make money, so give me the keys. I'm in charge now. You also had North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Georgia might be my favorite because that's where the King of England and all the judges and all the people in charge of stuff back in England, if they're like, you're a criminal. We're going to put you to death. Well, never mind. You didn't do something bad enough to put you to death. You know what? We'll just send you away. We're going to send you to something that's known as a penal colony. A penal colony is a colony where you send criminals or debtors, people who owe money. And that would be Georgia. So like Georgia was originally populated by a bunch of people who owed a ton of money and were criminals. I just think that's fun. You also have a proprietary colony. A proprietary, you think of, I am the proprietor. I own my store. I'm the store owner. I'm a proprietor. I sell things. English colony, in which the king gave land to who he chose. He got to choose who got it. And for a yearly payment. So whoever's in charge of that colony, in a proprietary colony, has to pay the king. And if they don't pay the king, they lose it. This person could basically rule over the colony as if it was their own kingdom. Although they were subservient to the king, they still got to do what the king says. And in all three of these different situations, there's always a tie back to the king. You have Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania would be falling under this particular one. Now, what's kind of fascinating is you have Massachusetts. It started out as a charter colony, but it was a royal colony, and it didn't ever lose its charter. It was really weird. Massachusetts always had its charter, but it was always also considered a royal colony, which was pretty confusing. And sometimes it became difficult for people there to really know who was in charge. Was it the people of Massachusetts? Or was it the King of England? Now, isn't it fascinating that the first colony to start revolting against the king was Massachusetts? It's almost like if you don't set forward consistent, clear guidelines on what's going to happen, people go, I don't like confusion. It's bad. Bang, bang. Vermont, this little sliver up here in between New York and New Hampshire, was not a colony like the others. Both New York and New Hampshire claimed to own it. Vermont eventually declared independence separately from the original 13 colonies, although the Continental Congress, that would be the governing body for the 13 colonies while they were fighting the Revolutionary War, refused to recognize it. They're like, nah, you're not, nah, you're not one of us, nah. Vermont was finally admitted to the Union as the 14th state in 1790, but that was 14 years as it was its own independent republic. So Vermont's kind of a cool little thing there. It wasn't a charter colony, it wasn't a royal colony, it wasn't a proprietary colony. You could kind of call it not a colony at all, but it still had to obey the king and became its own country for 14 years, and then joined the rest of the United States. Well, by then it'd be the United States. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. So remember, charter colony, they have permission. They have a permission slip to run it however they want. Proprietary is a guy is in charge, but he has to pay the king. And the royal colony is, yes sir, Mr. King, whatever you say, nothing changes. Hopefully this was helpful.